Introduction and Dramatis Personae for Iphigenia in Tauris. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Iphigenia in Tauris, a drama in 5 acts by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated from the German by Frederick Butler. Dramatis Personae. Iphigenia,
read by WendyKatzHiller.
Thoas, king of Tauris,
read by Brian Fullen.
Orestes,
read by Bartholomew Begley.
Pylades,
read by Larry Wilson.
Arkas,
read by Greg Giordano.
Stage directions read by Alan Mapstone. End of introduction and Dramatis Personae. Act 1 of Iphigenia in Tauris by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Frederick Butler. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Act 1. Scene 1. Grove before the Temple of Diana. Iphigenia.
Here in thy shadow, old and sacred grove, dense-leaved, whose crested tops sway to the breeze, as in Diana's quiet sanctuary, e'en now I tread with shuddering sense of dread, as though I now first trod this hallowed ground, and was not wont in spirit here to muse. For many a year a higher power has kept me here concealed. Obedient, I submit. Yet ever as at first my soul's estranged, for oh, the sea keeps me from those I love, and on the shore the livelong day I stand in spirit seeking Greece, my native land. And ever 'gainst my sighs the roaring waves bring back a hollow sound. Unhappy he who, far from home and kin, in solitude a fruitless life exhales. Him grief consumes, and from his lips the cup of present joy removes. His thoughts, like swarming bees, fly on his father's halls to reach, where first the sun revealed to him the heavens, where with mates of childhood's happy days close and more close the bands of love were drawn. Not with the gods do I contend, yet woman's lot is sad. In peace and war, man ever reigns supreme, and in a foreign land can hew his way. Possessions cheer him, victory crowns his head, a glorious death awaits him at life's close. How narrow is the sphere of womankind! A boorish husband to obey perforce, her duty and her cheer. How wretched she when cruel fate pursues her in her flight! So Thoas, noble man, doth hold me here a slave, in bonds of holy servitude. Oh, shame! Must I confess to thee, O goddess deliverer mine, that in my secret breast aversion to thy service dwells, wherein devotion should be full and free. Yet now in thee I've hoped, and still do hope in thee, Diana, in whose tender holy arms the outcast daughter of the greatest king was safely borne away. Yea, daughter Zeus, if thou didst wring the heart of that proud man, demanding then his child for sacrifice, and he his dearest to thine altar brought, If now the godlike Agamemnon thou from Troy's encircling walls hast safe restored with glory to his native land, the wife and son, Electra and the beauteous hordes hast well preserved for him, so grant that I may once again to mine at last return. As thou hast saved me from an awful death, so save me now from this abhorred life, to me a second death.
Scene 2. Iphigenia, Arkas.
The king hath sent me hither, and presents a health and greeting to Diana's priestess. This is the day that Tauris celebrates, and thanks the gods for victories new and strange. I speed before the king and all his host, to tell thee that he comes, his armies nigh.
We are prepared right worthily to receive them, and our goddess turns an aspect kind on offerings made by Thoas' willing hands.
Could I but see thine aspect cheered with light, thou worthy priestess of this honored shrine, O holy Virgin, then thy glance benign, on us, on all, with brighter radiance beaming, a token were of good. But now doth grief mysterious shroud thine inmost soul in gloom. In vain we've waited all these weary years to hear one word of comfort from thy breast. As long as I have known thee in this place, this is the glance 'neath which I ever shrank with dread. And as with bands of steel thy soul is held within thy bosom, firmly bound.
As well befits the exiled, orphaned one.
Deem'st thou thyself an exile here, an orphan?
Can foreign strands be native lands for us?
Foreign to thee thy native land became.
'Tis so. Hence bleeds my wounded heart unstanched. In early youth, ere yet the unfolding mind perceived parental bonds and family ties, e'en when the tender shoots, conjoined and lovely, strove from the root of parent stem to rise, e'en then, alas! The curse descending fell, and severing me from mine, with ruthless blow the union tore asunder. Vanished then best joy of youth and weal of early years. Thou saved, the merest shadow of myself I was, and ne'er again within my breast welled up the living springs of fresh desire.
If thus unhappy thou thyself wilt name, then truly I dare name thee thankless too.
Thanks have you, I.
But not unblemished thanks, whose virtue 'tis with kindness to requite, to show the host a joyous countenance, a sign to him of a contented life and loving heart. When many years ago a deep, mysterious fate to this our fane brought thee, then Taus came, as one God-given, to meet thee here with reverence and obeisance. Friendly and kind thou foundest then this shore, which erst with dread each hapless stranger filled. Before thee none set foot upon this land, who fell not prone on Dian's altar stairs. A bloody sacrifice, such custom ruled.
It is not all of life to freely breathe. What life is this, that in this holy place I, like a ghost beside the grave, must mourn? Can that be called a conscious, happy life, when every day in fruitless dreaming spent is but the prelude to that dreadful day when, wrapped, oblivious, on Lethean shores the mournful legions of the lost are ranked? A useless life is but an early death. Such woman's fate, alas, is mine alone.
The noble pride which bars contentment's way I can forgive, though much I pity thee. It robs thee of enjoyment of thy life, and nothing hast thou done since coming here. Who then the king's dark soul has cheered with light, whose soft, persuasive voice from year to year has stayed the cruel hand of custom old, which at Diana's altar called for blood of every stranger, who from certain death released the captives and so oft restored them to their native land. Her wrath appeased, though thus deprived of bloody sacrifice. Hath not Diana heard thy tender prayer? And doth not victory hover o'er the host in joyous flight, and hasten on before? Hath not a better lot befallen each, now that the king, our ruler wise and brave, basks in the sunshine of thy presence mild, and light for us hath made the load of duty in silence to obey? Canst thou lament that life as fruitless which on thousands drops, a dew balsamic and unfailing source of joy becomes to animate anew the people whom a God hath blessed in thee, and on the inhospitable shore of death the stranger saves and sends him home in peace?
In vaster vision of the field beyond, the least is lost to view and seems as naught.
Dost praise the man who values not his work?
Who weighs his deeds is held in light esteem.
He too, who proud, true worth esteemeth not, as well as he who idly lauds the false. Believe me, and heed well the word of one, in truth and honor to thy service bound, when on this day the king would speak to thee, and kindle thou his thought with thy keen wit.
Thou griev'st me with every kindly word. Oft have I sought his tiresome plea to evade.
Consider what thou dost and how to thrive, ere since the king hath lost his son in death. He trusts but few of all his former friends, e'en these few no longer as of old. Suspicious, he in every noble son, successor to his kingdom sees. He fears old age, helpless, alone. Perchance he fears revolt audacious and untimely death. The Scythian recks not of polite address, nor does the king. Accustomed to command and act, he knows not how to turn his speech in fine, set phrase, by indirection slow, his purpose to unfold. Increase not thou the burden of his tongue by coy refusal, by false conception, purposely assumed. Complaisant go to meet him half the way.
Shall I then hasten that which threatens me?
Wilt thou his wooing call a threat?
Before all else a threat most terrible.
Confide in him when he inclines to thee.
When first he doth my soul from fear set free.
Why dost thine origin from him conceal?
In mystery a priestess loves to dwell.
No mystery should be about the king, e'en though he ask not why. Yet still he feels, and feels it in the depths of his great soul, that warily thou dost guard thyself from him.
Doth he against me foster wrath and gloom?
It seemeth nearly so. Of thee indeed he speaketh not, yet divers words let fall have me apprised that rooted in his mind the wish is held to have thee for his own. Leave, oh, leave him not abandoned to himself, lest melancholy ripen in his breast, and bring upon thee horror and dismay, and thou too late my honest words wilt rue.
How? meditates the king what no true man who loves his name and renders to the gods their reverence due should ever hold in thought? Thinks he with violence to drag me hence from the altar to his bed? On all the gods I call, and chiefly on Diana chaste, the virgin goddess resolute, who sure will swiftly come her priestess to defend.
Be calm. No fever in the blood inflames the king to execute so rash a deed of untamed youth. His resolution harsh, I fear, is set on other means his end, unchecked to reach. Firm and immovable he's fixed. I pray thee therefore, if no more thou canst bestow, thou fail not to impart to him thy confidence and gratitude.
Oh, say, I beg, what more is known to thee?
Learn it from him. I see the king approach. Thou dost revere him, and thine own true heart doth prompt thee to bestow a greeting, kind and cordial. A noble, generous man, by woman's gentle speech, is guided for.
Iphigenia alone.
In truth, this trusty friend's advice to heed, I know not how, yet gladly I avow that favors of the king a grateful word from me demand. Whate'er his highness please, my sole wish is to answer him with truth.
Scene 3. Iphigenia Thoas.
With regal gifts the goddess thee endow. May she with victory and glory crown thee, and riches, and the welfare of thy realm, and every pious wish in fullness grant, that, as thy careful sway extends o'er all, so may the rarest bliss of all be thine.
Content were I, if my own people praised me. What I have gained by others is enjoyed more amply than by me. Most fortunate is he who, be he king or commoner, finds all things in his house established well. In my deep grief thou didst participate when at my side the hostile sword bereft me of my son, the last and best of all. As long as vengeful fury filled my soul, I recked not of my hearth, all desolate. But now, that sated, I return, the foe of his possessions, spoiled, my son avenged. Nothing at home remains to cheer my heart. The glad obedience which once I saw in every eye shine forth is now dedimmed with care, and with dejected mien is mute. What store the future hath is each one's thought. Obeys the childless king because he must. Now then I come to-day within this fane, oft trod by me to pray for victory, as well for victory to offer thanks. A wish long held I in my bosom bear. To thee not new nor unforeseen, I hope to lead thee hence a bride to my abode, to bless my people and myself to bless.
For one unknown thy proffer is too high, O king. Before thee stands the fugitive, ashamed, who seeks naught else upon this shore but safety and repose, which thou hast given.
By none would it be held as right and just that thou in mystery of thy origin dost ever veil thyself from me and mine. This shore in strangers doth inspire dread. Necessity and law demand it both. From thee alone, who every pious rite in fullness doth enjoy, a guest received by us with favour, who doth spend her days according to her own good will and choice, from thee I hoped to have the confidence which every faithful host may well expect.
If I my father's name and home have hid, O king, 'twas due to my perplexity, not my mistrust. If thou, alas, didst know who stands before thee, and what cursed head thou nourishest and dost protect, perchance a horror would thy great heart strangely chill, and thou, instead of offering me thy throne to share, wouldst drive me hence betimes expelled out of thy realm, perchance, ere destiny should fix for me the day of my return, with joy my own to meet, and see the end of all my wanderings, would thrust me on to wretchedness which everywhere awaits the outcast rover, as with icy hand the affrighted stranger greets the vagabond.
Whate'er the counsel of the gods involve, whate'er their purpose be concerning thee and thine own house, yet since thou dwellest with us, and privilege of pious guest enjoyest, no lack I felt in blessings from above. 'Twere not an easy task me to convince that I in thee a guilty head protect.
Thy benefactions bless thee, not thy guest.
What's done to wicked ones is never blessed. Therefore thy secrets and denials cease. With no injustice make I this demand. Into my hands the goddess thee delivered. As thou to her wast holy, so wast thou to me. Henceforward be her nod my law. If thou canst hope to see thy home again, then I release thee from all further claim. Yet now to thee the way's for ever barred, and be thy race expelled from out the land. Or, through perdition vast for ever lost, so art thou mine by more than one plain law. Speak freely, then, thou knowest I'll not reveal.
From ancient ban, unwillingly the tongue is loosed, a long-kept secret to disclose at last, which, once confided, doth forsake, ne'er to return, its dwelling place secure within the soul's profoundest depths, goes forth to hurt or save, as will the gods above. Know then, I'm sprung from race of Tantalus.
Thou utterest a pregnant word unmoved. Dost thou name him as thy progenitor, who, world-famed, once in favour high was held by all the gods? Is it that Tantalus whom Jove to council and his table drew, in whose well-knit discourse of meaning full and wide experience the gods themselves, as in an oracle, delighted were?
E'en he it is, but gods should ne'er with men associate as equals with themselves, for mortal man is far too weak, his place in unaccustomed heights undazed to hold. Ignoble was he not, and traitor none, too great to be a slave, and yet mere man in company of mighty, thundering Jove. His fault was human then, its doom severe, and poets sing, through pride and perfidy he fell headlong disgraced from festive board of Jove, adown to ancient Tartarus. Alas, and his whole race have borne their hate.
Born for their forebears' guilt or for their own?
'Tis true, to all his sons and grandsons fell by sure inheritance the breast of strength and powerful pith of Titans. Yet the god around their foreheads forged a band of brass, and from their furtive, gloomy glance concealed the law of reason, wisdom, self-control. With them each separate wish absorbed the soul, and boundless ranged their fury far and near. First Pelops, he whose will all things essayed, beloved son of Tantalus, obtained through treachery and blood that peerless dame, the Oenomaean Iphigenia. Her consort's wish to fill, she bore 2 sons, Thyestes, Atreus. With envy they observed their father's love-forced eldest son, born of a former wife. In hatred joined the pair, in secret ventured their first deed in fratricide. On Hippodamia the father rests suspicion of the crime, and in his rage demands of her his son. She slays herself.
Art dumb? Proceed. Repent not of thy trust reposed in me. Speak.
How happy he who gladly calls to mind his ancestors, recounts with pride their deeds and fame, and secretly exults to see himself at end of this illustrious line. It falls not to a single race alike, now demigods, now monsters to beget, for first a line of evil ones or good brings forth to view at last a progeny of horror or of joy. Their father dead, Atreus and Thyestes in common rule the city held. The concord could not long abide. Thyestes soon his brother's bed dishonored. Avenging Atreus drove him forth out of the realm. Long time before, Thyestes, on mischief bent, with purpose fell intent, had stolen his brother's son, and secretly with much caress had raised him as his own. He fills his breast with fury and revenge, and sends him to the palace of the king to slay, as uncle, his own royal sire. The purpose of the youth disclosed, the king upon the would-be murderer inflicts a cruel punishment, believing then that his own brother's son is slain. Too late he learns who perishes in torments there, before his drunken eyes. Revengeful fire within his breast to quench, in silence he resolves on deed unheard before. He seems resigned, indifferent, appeased, allures his brother with his sons into the realm again, lays hold upon the youthful twain, slays them, and sets the loathsome, horrid food before the father at the first repast. Now, when Thyestes' hunger was appeased with his own flesh, oppressed with gloom and sad, he asks to see his boys, whose tread, whose voice at threshold of the hall he seems to hear. Then Atreus, with horrid grin, throws down to him the head and feet of those he slew. With horror thou dost turn thy face, O king. So let the sun in heaven turn his face, and chariot turn from his eternal course. These are thy priestess's ancestors, O king, and many a fateful, hapless doom of men, and many a deed of the perverted mind. Night with her heavy wings o'erspreads, and grants us dimly to behold in hideous gloom.
So, too, in silence let them rest. Enough of horrors. Yet declare, through what strange freak hast thou from such wild stem burst forth to view?
Atreus' eldest son was Agamemnon. He is my father. Yet, I dare to say it, in him have I, ere since my earliest days, a pattern of the perfect man beheld. To him was I by Clytemnestra brought, firstling of love. Electra then, in peace the king bore sway, and Tantal's house at last long-needed rest enjoyed. A son alone was wanting to complete the parents' bliss, and scarce was this desire fulfilled, and twixt the sisters both, Orestes, darling child, grew up apace. That other ill arose as menace to the safety of our house. The rumor of that war has come to thee, in which, to avenge the rape of fairest one of womankind, The universal might of Grecian chiefs besieged the walls of Troy. Have they attained the goal of their revenge and won the citadel of Troy? I know not. My father led the Grecian hosts. In Aulis they waited for a favoring wind in vain, for, angry with their potent chief, Diana delayed them in their haste, demanding then through Calchas' mouth the chieftain's eldest daughter. Me with my mother they allured to camp. They dragged me to the altar, and this head devoted to the goddess. She appeased, demanded not my blood, and quick to save, concealed me in a cloud. In this same temple I first from death awoke to consciousness. Herself I am Iphigenia, who speaks to thee, grandchild of Atreus, Agamemnon's child, to Diane consecrate.
No greater preference and trust I grant to daughter of the king than to th' unknown. My first proposal I reiterate. Come, follow me, and share whate'er I have.
How dare I venture such a step, O king? Hath not the goddess who hath saved alone the right to hold my consecrated life? She hath a place of safety sought for me, and she doth keep me for a father here, whom she, to outward seeming, hath chastised enough, chastised perchance for sweetest joy of his old age. Perchance for me is nigh the glad return, and I, regarding not her way, should bind myself against her will? A sign I seek, if duty 'tis to stay.
This is the sign that thou dost here abide. Seek not with anxious mind such like escape. Few words are needed to deny a plea. When all is said, the no alone is heard.
No idle words I speak to blind the sense. I have revealed to thee my deepest heart, and wilt thou not to thine own self confess how I with anxious mind must long to see my father, mother, and my kindred dear, that in the ancient halls where sadness now doth oft in silence whisper soft my name, joy might, as for a child new-born, entwine her fairest wreath from pillar unto pillar. Oh, wouldst thou thither send me sailing forth, new life thou wouldst bestow on me, on all.
So then return. Do what thy heart commands. Be deaf to reason's voice and good advice. Be woman all, and to that impulse yield which seizes thee unchecked and drags thee on. Now here, now there, when once a wish inflames the breast, no sacred bond can hold her back from the betrayer who would lure her hence from father or betrothed. Lure her from the arms long tried and true, and glows within her breast the hidden fire. Persuasion's golden tongue on her is spent in vain, though true and strong.
Bethink thee, king, of thine own generous word. Wilt thou my trust repay in terms like these? Thou wast prepared, methought, to learn the whole.
For th' unexpected I was not prepared, and yet I should have been. Did I not know that with a woman I engaged to deal?
Chide not our miserable sex, O king. A woman's weapons, though not grand like thine, are not ignoble. This believe, and here I have the advantage over thee, that I thy happiness know better than thyself. Not knowing thine own self nor me, thou thinkest a closer bond would bring us greater joy. With courage high, as well as good intent, thou urgest me to join my hand in wedlock, and here I thank the gods that they have given to me the firmness to refuse consent to enter into bonds which they approve not.
No God, but thine own heart it is that speaks.
through our own hearts alone they speak to us.
And have I not the right to hear them too?
The storm of passion drowns the still small voice.
The priestess hears the voice alone, not so?
Before all men the prince should mark it well.
Thy holy office and thy sure birthright to sit with Jove brings thee to gods more near than earth-born son of Scythian wilds.
So I atone the trust which thou hast wrung from me.
I am a man, and better 'tis we end. Let this then be my word. Be priestess here to Diane, goddess who hath chosen thee. Yet now her pardon I implore, that I, unjustly and with secret qualms, till now have kept from her ancient sacrifice. The stranger fares but ill who nears our shores. His fate has ever been a certain death. 'Twas thou alone who with a tenderness as with a charm so captive held me fast, that I my duty all forgot. With joy I saw in that same tenderness a love now gentle as a child's, alluring then, like to the silent yielding of a bride. My senses thou didst soothe and lull to sleep. My people's murmurings I heeded not, but now on me and me alone they lay the blame of my dear son's untimely death. No longer for thy sake will I restrain the surging mob demanding sacrifice.
For my sake I have ne'er desired it. He misconceives the heavenly powers who thinks they thirst for blood. He but ascribes to them his own dark thoughts and horrid lusts. Did not the goddess snatch me from the priest? To her my service was more grateful than my death.
It suits us ill by fickle reasoning to lightly twist and turn a holy usage according to our whim. Thy duty do, I shall do mine. 2 strangers found concealed within the caverns of the shore, no good intending to my land, are in my power. With them thy goddess may again receive her first and rightful offering, wanted long. I'll send them hither, thou dost know thine office.
Scene 4. Iphigenia alone.
Thou hast clouds, O gracious Saviour mine, to enwrap the guiltless persecuted one, and on winds to bear her from the arms of unyielding fate, o'er trackless seas, over earth's wide champaigns, as thou wilt. Wise thou art, and seest futurity. Ever present is the past to thee, as thy light enlivens night and hovers resting o'er the earth's remotest glades. So thy glance rests on thy loved ones ever. Keep, oh, ever keep my hands from bloodstain. Peace and blessing it can never bring us. And the spectre of the fated slain one e'er in evil hour lurks and follows in the surly murderer's path to fright him. But the immortal gods ever delight in virtuous races of men scattered far, and they grant gladly to mortals a respite of life's fleeting day. From their eternal seats kindly look down on men. Gladly they grant to them visions of heaven a while to enjoy.
End of Act 1. Act 2 of Iphigenia in Tauris by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Frederick Butler. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Act 2, Scene 1, Orestes, Pylades.
It is the way of death on which we tread. With every step my soul becomes more calm. When I Apollo prayed to banish hence this horrid escort of avenging furies. He seemed by certain hopeful oracles to promise help and refuge in the fane of his beloved sister who holds sway o'er Tauris. Now the event seems to portend that with my life all pangs shall wholly cease. How easy it will be for me, whose heart a god contracts. The sense does stupefy, forever to renounce the light of day. And if the sons of Atreus in the fight no more shall win an end with victory crowned, if I, like slaughtered ox in wretched death, must bleed, as bled my father and his line, so be it. Better here before the altar than in abandoned nook, where the assassin, though near of kin, the deadly meshes spreads. Leave me a while in peace, infernal powers, ye who, like unleashed hounds, with eager scent set on the blood, which from my steps drops down and marks my path. Leave me, I'll soon descend to you. The light of day shall not see you nor me. Earth blanket, beautiful and green, shall be no gambol place for hellish masks. I'll seek you there below. There all are bound by common fate in lasting weary night. But thou, my Pylades, thou, innocent companion of my guilt and banishment, how loath am I to take thee with me hence before thy time, into yon mournful land. Thy life or death for me alone hath aught of hope or fear.
I am not yet prepared like thou, Orestes, to make descent into that realm of shades. I still expect through these entangled paths, which seem to lead us on to blackest night, to wind up in the light of day again. I have no thought of death. My mind's intent to learn what ways and means the gods devise to compass our glad deliverance. Death, whether feared or not, comes unrestrained. When once the priestess raises her hand, in consecrating act our locks to sever, then shall our rescue be my only thought. Arouse thy soul from this despondency. To doubt is but to hasten danger on. We have Apollo's word. For thee prepared in sister sanctuary is relief and consolation and a safe return. The gods speak not in words equivocal, as one oppressed with care and sadness thinks.
Around my head in tender infancy, my mother drew the veil of life obscure, and so I grew apace, my father's image, and my mute glance was keen reproach to her and to her paramour. How oft have I, when sister mine Electra silent sat before the hearth, deep down in the long hall, pressed sad into her lap, and on her gazed with wonder eyes as bitter tears she shed. Then spoke she of our noble father much. Oh, how I longed to see him, be with him. Anon to Troy I wished to go, anon wished his return. Then came the day.
Oh, let hell's ministers divert themselves with nightly rites in honor of that day. Let memory of a fairer time infuse in us new strength to run the hero's course. The gods have need of many a valiant man upon this earth to serve their high behests. They still do count on thee. They sent not thee thy father to attend when he in rage descended to the gloomy shades of Orcus?
Oh, would that I, his mantle holding fast, had followed him.
Thus they who held thee back had care for me. For what I had become, bereft of thee, I can not well divine, since I with thee and for thy sake alone from childhood on do live, and wish to live.
Remind me not of those delightful days when I enjoyed the freedom of thy house. Thy noble father, wise and merciful, did foster then the young and torpid bloom. When thou, companion ever gay and lively, like to a brightly coloured butterfly, around a darksome flower, each day didst play around me with a new and joyous life, didst so inspirit me with thy glad mood, that I, forgetting my distress, with thee in youth's mad whirl, did riot forth unchecked.
Then life began for me when I loved thee.
Say rather, my distress, and thou speak'st true. This is the very poignancy of fate, that I, like an infected fugitive, bear in my bosom secret pain and death, that wheresoe'er in wholesome place I tread, too soon emerging faces pressing round me, the painful progress of slow death betray.
Sure, I would be the first to die this death, if e'er thy breath, Orestes, poison were. Am I not ever full of life and spirit? And life and love are wings on which we rise to noble deeds.
To noble deeds, oh yes, I know the time when we saw them before us, when we together often chased the game through hill and dale, and hoped some day e'en so, like our great ancestor, with strength and might, with club and sword, to fall upon the track of monster and the robber. Then at eve, beside the great white sea, we quiet sat, each on the other leaning, as the waves rolled up unto our very feet. The world so wide expanded all before us lay. Then many a time indeed we drew our swords, and future deeds thronged round us like the stars in countless numbers from the vault of night.
Illimitable is the work the soul strives to fulfill. We might each deed perform in magnitude as great as it doth grow, when mouth of poet rolls it swelling down for ages through all lands and peoples vast. It sounds so sweet to hear a harping youth, when resting in the stilly evening shades, lisp to the harp tones our forefathers' deeds. And what we do is as it was to them, all toil and empty job work. So run we after that which flies before us, unmindful of the way on which we tread, and see not our ancestors step beside us, nor mark the footprints of their life on earth. With eager steps we ever chase their shadow, which godlike in enchanting distance far the mountain top with golden clouds doth crown. I value not the man who idly thinks how he, perchance, may rise among his kind. But thou, O youth, be thankful to the gods that they so soon through you so much have done.
When they on man the joyful boon bestow, the course of evil from his race to turn, his kingdom to enlarge, its bounds secure, and ancient foes in battle fall or flee, then let him thankful be. For then a god hath granted him life's first and last desire. On me their choice has fallen for slaughter's work, to be my honoured mother's murderer. Avenging crime with crime, my doom is fixed. They've marked me for perdition. Now believe that judgment rests on house of Tantalus, and I, the last one, shall not guiltless go, nor full of honours pass away.
The gods avenge not on the son the father's guilt. Each one receives according to his deeds his just reward, and be he good or bad, our parents' blessing, not their curse, descends to us.
Their blessing leads us not this way, it seems.
At least the gods who dwell on high so will it.
It is their will, therefore, that ruins us.
Do thou what they command thee, and await. If thou dost safely carry hence his sister unto Apollo, and they both united at Delphi dwell, revered by people there, whose thoughts are heaven-born, then for this deed the exalted pair will gracious be to thee, and rescue thee from the infernal powers e'en here within this holy fane none venture.
So I at least shall have a tranquil death.
I think quite otherwise, and not inapt have I combined and secretly conjoined what's past and done with that which is to come. Perhaps the great work has been ripening in council of the gods. Diana longs to be away from this wild barbarous shore and all its bloody human sacrifice. We were ordained to do this glorious deed. On us the work is laid, and strange the way by which we've come, perforce, unto these gates.
With rare and subtle skill, thou weav'st in one the counsel of the gods, and thine own wishes.
What is man's wisdom, if it yieldeth not attentive ear to purposes divine? To deed of greatest weight a god hath called the noble man, who much hath sinned, and laid on him what seems to us an endless task. The hero conquers, and his guilt atoned, serves gods and men who honour him alike.
If I am called to live and to perform, then let some god expel from my dull brain the dizziness which on the slippery path, besprinkled with my mother's blood, drags me to death. Let him with gracious hand stop the springs which from my mother's gaping wounds flow towards me, and forever stain my soul.
Await it calmly. Thou augmentest the ill, and takest on thyself the Fury's part. Be mine the task to think. Be still. At last, when action doth demand united strength, then I will call thee up, and we as one with all-surpassing might will boldly stride to consummation.
I hear Ulysses speak.
Nay, mock me not. Each one must choose his hero, after whom, upon the path of high Olympus, he must toiling go. Let this be granted me. I hold that craft and cunning ne'er disgrace the man whose life to valorous deeds are given.
I value him who brave and upright is.
Therefore I have not sought advice of thee. One step is taken already. From our guards I have till now much useful knowledge drawn. I know a foreign, godlike woman holds that bloody law enchained. A stainless heart and incense prayer she offers to the gods. Her virtue is world-famed. 'Tis thought she sprung from stock of Amazons, has fled her country to avoid some great and threatening ill.
It seems her spotless reign hath lost its power through near approach of guilty wretch, whose curse pursues and covers him like widespread night. The pious thirst for blood will yet unloose the ancient custom from its chains to slay us. The savage-thoughted king marks us for death. A woman will not save us when he's roused.
'Tis well for us that it a woman is. A man, be he the best, inures his mind to cruelty, and for himself at last doth make a law from which he abhors, becomes by force of custom harsh and strange. But woman, once possessed, will ever hold to singleness of purpose fast. Thou canst more safely count on her in good and ill. Be still, she comes. Leave us alone. Not now dare I reveal to her our names, nor trust to her without reserve our destiny. Go thou, and ere she speaks with thee, I'll meet thee.
Scene 2. Iphigenia, Pylades.
O stranger, whence thou art and comest, speak! Methinks that I should sooner liken thee unto a Grecian than a Scythian man.
Iphigenia removes Pylades' chains.
There's peril in the freedom which I give. The gods avert the ill that threatens you.
O sweet and gentle voice, thrice welcome sound of mother tongue in strange and foreign land. Again my native heavens, hills so blue before my eyes, a captive I behold, and welcome them in you. Of this thy joy be well assured, that I too am a Greek. Thy noble presence so entranced my soul, that I forgot how much I need thine aid. O say, unless some fate hath closed thy lips, from which of all our tribes dost thou derive thy origin divine?
The priestess, by her goddess very self elected and made holy, speaks with thee. Let that suffice thee. Say then, who thou art, and what unhappy overruling fate hath hither brought thee with thy comrade true?
'Tis easy to relate what gravest ill pursues us with oppressive fellowship. O couldst thou, Holy One, as easily impart to us the joyous gleam of hope? From Crete are we, Adastra's sons, well born. I am the youngest of the house, and known as Cephalus, and he Laodamas the eldest. 'Twixt us stood another son, uncouth and wild, who e'en in childhood's play all concord and enjoyment rent asunder. We passively obeyed our mother's words, and while our father's might waged war at Troy. But when enriched with booty he returned, and soon thereafter passed away, then strife for rule and heritage estranged the heirs. I joined the fortunes of the eldest one. He slew his brother. For the guilt of blood the Furies drive him on from place to place. And yet the Delphian Apollo sends us to this inhospitable shore with hope. Here in the temple of his sister he commanded us to wait for helping hand beneficent. We are in chains, and brought before thee here for sacrifice. Thou knowest.
Fell Troy! Dear man, assure me.
It lies. O promise us deliverance. O hasten thou the succor which a god hath promised us. And pity thou my brother. Speak soon to him some kind and cheering word. Yet spare him, I beseech thee, when thou speakest. For 'tis his sad condition that his mind through joy and pain and memory's power is moved most easily and in confusion thrown. A paroxysm of madness seizes him, and his great soul, so beautiful and free, is given a prey to furies, wrath, and power.
Be thy misfortune e'er so great, yet I do charge thee to forget till thou hast answered me.
The lofty citadel, which 10 long years withstood the army of all Greece combined, lies now in ruins, ne'er again to rise. Yet many a grave of our most valiant men doth draw our thoughts to that barbaric shore. There lies Achilles with his noble friends.
Ye images of gods, ye too are dust.
And Palamedes, Ajax, Telamon, they never saw the fatherland again.
He speaks not of my father, and names him not among the slain. He lives, still lives for me. I shall behold his face. O hope, dear heart!
Yet blessed are the thousands who have died the death so bittersweet at hand of foe. For an inimical and angry God prepared for the returning wanderers wild terrors on the main, and mournful end in triumph's stead. Doth sound of human voice ne'er come to thee? As far as it doth reach, it bears the rumour round of unheard deeds. So then the lamentation, which doth fill my scene's halls with e'er-recurring sighs, is hid from thee? For with Aegisthus' aid, her spouse by Clytemnestra was ensnared and slain upon the day of his return. I see thou dost revere this royal house. I see it, for thy bosom vainly strives against the unexpected, dreadful word. Art thou a daughter of a friend? Wast thou in this same city born a neighbour then? Conceal it not, and hold it not amiss, that I am the first this horror to announce.
Say on, how was the heavy deed accomplished?
When, on the day of his return, the king descended from the bath, refreshed and calm, and reached to take his garment from his spouse, the wretched woman o'er his noble head and shoulders threw a fabric woven with skill, with manifold and complicated plaits. And as he vainly strove to free himself as from a net, Aegisthus' traitor struck. Down sank this mighty prince, thus veiled to death.
And what was the conspirator's reward?
A bed and rule, which he already had.
Did thus their evil lust lead on to crime?
And deep desire for vengeance long concealed.
How had the king offended her so sore?
By an atrocious deed, which be the act of murder, ever just, was her excuse. To Aulis he allured her, and the while a deity with boisterous winds opposed the passage of the Greeks, had thither brought before the altar of Diana chaste the eldest daughter, Iphigenia. And there she fell, a bloody sacrifice to save the Greeks. 'Twas this, they say, that stamped upon her heart a hate so deep that she submitted to Aegisthus' fond caress, and flung with her own hands the fatal net around her spouse.
Iphigenia veiling herself.
It is enough. Thou shalt see me again.
Pylades alone.
By fortunes of the royal house she seems profoundly moved. Whate'er her name and race, she has herself most surely known the king, and fortunate for us from noble house was hither brought a slave. Be still, fond heart, and let us wisely steer our course with joy and courage towards the glimmering star of hope.
End of Act 2. Act 3 of Iphigenia in Tauris by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Frederick Butler. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Act 3. Scene 1. Iphigenia, Orestes.
Unhappy man, thy fetters I unloose but as a sign of a more painful fate. The freedom which the sanctuary grants forebodeth death, e'en as life's last clear glance of the frail invalid. Yet I cannot and dare not say unto myself that ye are lost. How could I with a murderous hand devote you unto death? And none soe'er, as long as I am priestess to Diana, dares touch your head. But now, when I refuse the office, as the incensed king demands it, he will select one of my maidens here as my successor, and I then cannot but aid you with my ardent wish alone. O worthy countrymen, the least of all of those who served at the ancestral hearth is doubly welcome in a foreign land. How shall I with due joy and reverence receive you, ye who bring before my sight the image of the heroes whom I learned from elders to revere, who fondly cheer my inmost heart with new and pleasing hope?
Concealest thou thy name and origin with wise forethought? Or may I know who stands before me, like a heaven-descended one?
Hereafter thou shalt know. But Tell me now, since I but partly learned it from thy brother, what was the end of those who came from Troy to find, upon the threshold of their homes, dumbstruck, a cruel, unexpected fate? Sure, I was young when guided to this strand, yet well do I recall the timid glance which I with wonder and with fearlessness upon those heroes cast. They went forth so, as though Olympus opened wide her gates, and antique forms illustrious came forth to threaten Ilion's fall, and high o'er all the towering form of Agamemnon stood. Oh, tell me, pray, he fell in his own house, through his own consorts and Aegisthus' trick?
Thou sayest.
Alas, Mycenae, woe is thee! Thus have the sons of Tantalus sown curse on curse, broadcast, with full and reckless hand, and, shaking, like the weeds, their desert heads, and strewing seeds by thousands o'er the waste, begotten murderers all near of kin, in an unbroken line from son to son in ever-changing fury. But reveal, what of thy brother's speech so suddenly the darkness of my fright concealed from me? How has the last of this illustrious race, the darling child, ordained some day to be his sire's avenger, how has he, Orestes, escaped the day of blood? Has a like fate entangled him in the avernal net? Is he still safe, alive, and lives Electra?
They live.
Thou golden sun, lend me thy brightest rays, lay them for thanks before the throne of Jove, for I am poor and dumb.
Art thou a friend unto this royal house? Art thou with closer ties unto it bound, as thy sweet joy seems to disclose to me? Then tame thy heart awhile, and hold it fast, for to the joyful mind a swift relapse into the state of pain is hard to bear. Thou knowest only Agamemnon's death.
And know I not enough with this?
Thou hast but half of horror's tale perceived.
What else is there to fear? Orestes lives, Electra lives.
And fearest thou for Clytemnestra naught?
Nor hope nor fear can save her evermore.
She too departed from the land of hope.
Shed she her blood in her remorseful rage?
Not so, yet her own blood gave her to death.
More clearly speak, that I no longer doubt. For dark uncertainty in thousand forms beats round my timorous head its sombre wings.
Have then the gods thus chosen me to announce a deed which I so willingly would hide in soundless hollow caverns of night's realm? Against my will, thy gentle tongue constrains me. Perhaps it asks and will receive a pang. Upon the day in which the father fell, Electra, quick to save, concealed her brother. His uncle Strophius received him gladly, reared him beside his son, named Pylades, who round the adopted one the tenderest ties of friendship bound. And as they grew, there grew within their souls the burning wish to avenge the king's death. Unexpected, in disguise they reach Mycenae, feigning so to bear the mournful tidings of Orestes' death, together with his ashes. And the queen receives them well. They pass into the house. Unto Electra then Orestes makes himself full known. In him she fans the fire of vengeance, which the mother's sacred presence had well repressed. She leads him silently, unto the place whereon his father fell, where still remained an old slight trace of blood, so rashly spilt, and stained the oft-washed floor with pale portentous streaks. With fiery tongue, each circumstance of the accursed deed she there portrayed, and her own wretched life, harassed and menial, the arrogance of the successful traitor, and the perils which now the children feared from cruelty of one who had become stepmother harsh. Here, then, the ancient dagger, which so oft had made such fearful havoc in the house of Tantalus, she forced upon her brother, and Clytemnestra fell by her son's hand.
Immortal gods, ye who in spotless light on clouds forever new, so happy dwell, have ye for this alone so many years thus sundered me from humankind, kept me so near yourselves, charged me with filial care to feed the holy fire's glow, raised up my soul like flame unto your dwelling place in everlasting pious purity, but later and more deeply to transfix me with horrors of my house? But let me hear of the unhappy one, Orestes. Speak to me of him.
Oh, would that we could speak of him as dead! How like the foam the mother's spirit rose from out the blood of her slain self, and called unto the ancient daughters of the night, let not the matricide escape, pursue the criminal, to you he's given for doom. They hear, and all around their hollow eyes glare like the eagle's, eager for the prey. They stir themselves within their gloomy cells, from nook and cranny steal abroad with stealth their constant followers, despair and grief. From them a fume of Acheron ascends. Within the circle of its vapour rolls, confusing round the guilty wretch's head, the never-ceasing sight of what is done. So they, with power to ruin clothed, thus tread the beauteous ground of earth divinely sown, from which an ancient curse long banished them. Swift-footed, they pursue the fugitive. They give him rest, only to fright anew.
Unhappy man, thou art in a like case, and feelest the pangs of the poor fugitive.
What sayest thou? What thinkest a like case?
Like him, a fratricide oppresses thee. This much already hath thy younger brother confided unto me.
I cannot bear the thought that thou, great soul, shouldst ever be deceived by falsehood's wile. A clever stranger practised in deceit ties round a stranger's feet a web of lies to catch him in a snare. Twixt us be truth. I am Orestes, and this guilty head sinks down unto the grave, and seeketh death. In any form he's welcome when he comes. Whoe'er thou art, I wish deliverance for thee, and for my friends, not for myself. Thou seemest here against thy will to stay. Devise some means of flight, and leave me here. From rocky cliff let my dead body fall. Down to the watery main let fume my blood, and bring a curse to this barbaric shore. Go ye, at home in beauteous land of Greece, there to begin a new and blessed life.
Orestes withdraws.
So, then at last, fulfillment, fairest daughter of the Almighty Father, thou descendest to me. How vast thine image stands before me! My glance can scarce attain unto the hands which, flowing o'er with fruit and crowns of blessing, the treasures of Olympus bringeth down. As we by his abounding gifts may know the King, for what to thousands seemeth wealth, to him is but a trifle, so may we know you, ye gods, by gifts withheld for long and wisely suited to our several needs. For ye alone can know what profits us, and see the future's kingdom stretched afar, when every night a veil of star and mist obscures the view for us. Ye calmly hear our earnest prayers, when we like children beg for quick response, but never do your hands untimely pluck the golden fruits of heaven, and woe to him who, snatching them with greed and insolence, consumes unto his death the acrid food. Oh, let the long-awaited, still scare-imagined happiness not pass from me like empty shadow of a friend departed, and in pangs by far more piercing.
Orestes returning.
Invokest thou the gods for thine own self and Pylades, then couple not my name with yours. Thou canst not save the criminal, to whom thou join'st thyself, and sharest his curse and fate.
My fate is firmly bound to thine.
By no means. Let me descend alone, companionless unto the dead. Couldst thou the guilty one conceal within the folds of thine own veil, thou couldst not hide him from the tireless eye of those who ever watch. Thy presence e'en, thou heavenly one, would only press aside, not frighten them away. They dare not tread with bold aspiring feet this hallowed ground, yet in the distance here and there I hear their fiendish laughter. So wolves wait round the tree whereon a traveller saves himself. Out there they lie in wait. If I forsake this fane, then they will rise, and shaking high the serpent heads, and scattering dust around from every side, drive on their prey before them.
Canst thou, Orestes, take a kindly word?
Spare it for one who is a friend of the gods.
They grant to thee the light of a new hope.
Through smoke and fume I see the feeble glimmer of death's flood light me on the way to hell.
Hast thou one sister only, named Electra?
The one I knew. Yet well, the elder took her goodly lot, which seemed to us so dreadful, out of the misery of our house betimes. O cease thy questionings, lest thou too join the Erinyes' company. With hate malign they blow the ashes from my soul away, and suffer not the dying embers' fire of our ruined race to expire in me. Shall then the glow, ignited by design and fed by sulphurous fumes from hell beneath, forever on my soul tormenting burn?
I bring sweet incense now into the flame. Oh, let the pure and holy breath of love in gentle zephyrs cool thy bosom's glow. Orestes, dear, canst thou not understand? Hast thus the company of terror's gods dried up thy blood within thy arteries? Creeps thus, as from the hideous Gorgon head, a petrifying sorcery through thy limbs? Oh, if the voice of mother's blood be spilt can call in hollow tones to hell's confines, shall not the guileless sister's blessed word propitious gods down from Olympus call?
It calls, it calls. Wilt thou thus ruin me? Doth an avenging goddess hide in thee? Who art thou then, whose voice with terror moves my inmost soul to its profoundest depths?
In thy heart's depths the truth proclaims itself. Orestes, I am she. See, Iphigenia, I live,
Thou?
my brother.
Leave me, away, I counsel thee, touch not these locks of mine. A fire unquenchable flames forth from me, as from the bridal robe of Glauce flamed. Leave me, like Hercules will I, base wretch, absorbed in self, go down to death and shame.
Thou shalt not perish. Oh, that I could draw one peaceful word from thee. Resolve my doubt. Let now the happiness so long implored become assured to me. A whirl of joy and pain goes through my soul. A shuddering chill removes me from the stranger. But my heart, with yearnings deep and strong, moves to my brother.
Is this Laiaeus' temple? And raves wild the priestess in a holy frenzy forth?
Oh, hear me! Look upon me, how my heart so long repressed now opens to the bliss the world still holds for me. The dearest head to kiss, to clasp thee in mine arms which erst the empty winds embraced. Oh, let me, for from Parnassus not more brightly springs the ceaseless fountain's flow in sparkling spray from rock to rock down to the golden vale. Then flows the joy that gushes from my heart, and like a happy sea embraces me. Oreste, Oreste, my brother!
Lovely nymph, I trust thee and thy fond caresses not. Diana rules her ministers austere, and will avenge her temple's profanation. Remove thine arm from off my breast, and if thine ardour seeks to save a youth, and thou wilt kindly tender him the boon, then turn thy thoughts unto my worthy friend. On yonder rocky path he strays about. Seek him, show him the way aright, and spare me.
Be calm, my brother, and receive the found one. Brand not a sister's pure and heavenly joy with infamy of rash and guilty lust. Oh, take the blindness from his staring eyes. Let not the instant of our highest joy be turned to threefold anguish. She is here, the long-lost sister. From the altar me the goddess tore away, and hither brought me safe to her own true sanctuary. Thou art a captive, held for sacrifice, and in the priestess findest thine own sister.
Unhappy one, then let the sun behold the closing horror of our ill-starred house. Is not Electra here, that she too may with us go down to death, and not prolong her life for a more direful fate and grief? 'Tis well, I follow to the altar, priestess, for fratricide is custom handed down of old in Pelops' race. I thank you, gods, that ye have purposed to uproot me childless, and let me counsel thee, be not too much in love with the bright sun and with the stars. Come, follow me into the gloomy realm. As dragons from the sulphurous pool begotten, and warring with the kindred brood devour each other, so the fury-bearing race destroys itself. Childless and guiltless, come, descend with me. Dost look with pitying eyes on me? Forbear. With such a pitying glance did Clytemnestra seek to find a way to her son's heart. Yet his uplifted arm smote her fair breast. The mother fell. Arise, thou angry ghost. Come on, ye furies. Come, and circling round, act well your several parts in this most welcome spectacle, the last, most horrible of all that ye've prepared. Not hate and not revenge your dagger sharpen. The lovely sister will perform the deed perforce. Weep not, thou hast no touch of blame. Ere since my earliest years, naught have I loved as I could love thee, sister. Brandish now your steel, Spare not, tear through this naked breast, and open for the seething streams a way.
Orestes sinks exhausted.
I cannot bear this fortune and distress alone. Where art thou, Pylades? Dear man, where shall I find thine aid?
Iphigenia withdraws, seeking Pylades. Scene 2. Orestes awakening from his stupor and rising.
Another. Reach to me from Lethe's flood the last cool quickening draught. Soon from my breast the spasm of life will be expelled. My spirit, delivered to oblivion's source, will soon flow on in quietude to you, ye shades in everlasting mist. In your repose the harried son of earth finds glad relief. What lispings do I hear among the branches? What rustling noise from yonder twilight dim? They come now to behold their latest guest. What troop is it that joys so gloriously among themselves like royal company? They go in peace, both old and young, the men with women, and their forms advancing seem like gods. In truth, they are my ancestors. Thyestes goes with Atreus, engaged in confidential talk. The children glide in play about them. Is there then no more of ancient enmity among you here? Expired revenge, as dies the light of day? Then I too shall be welcome, and I may commingle in your festive company. Ye fathers, welcome. Greetings from Orestes, the last man of your ancient royal race. What ye have sown is harvested by him. With curses laden I am come to you. Each burden here more easily is borne. Take him, O take him to your fellowship. Thee, Atreus, I revere, thee too, Thyestes. Here are we all from enmity set free. Show me my father, whom in life I saw but once. And art thou he, my father, thou, and trustest thou to lead the mother round? Dare Clytemnestra offer thee her hand, so dares Orestes turn his steps to her and say to her, Behold thy son, Orestes, behold your son. Bid him be welcome here. On earth was murder's greeting in our house and never failing signal, and the race of ancient Tantalus must find its joy beyond the realm of night. Ye cry, Thou'rt welcome, and ye receive me. O lead me to him, our ancient ancestor. O where is he, that I may see him and the dear old head that honoured with the gods in council sat? Ye seem to hesitate, to turn away. What meaneth this? Is he the godlike one in torments? Woe is me! The almighty gods have forged and fastened to the hero's breast an adamantine chain of cruel pains.
Scene 3. Orestes, Iphigenia, Pylades.
Are ye too now descended from above? 'Tis well, my sister. Yet Electra stays. May some good god soon send the last one down, on gentle rays like arrows swift to us. Thee, my poor friend, must I commiserate. Come with me, come, away to Pluto's throne, as guests but newly come to greet the host.
Ye twain, who on the wide expanse of heaven the beauteous light by day and night upheave for men and shine not for departed souls, preserve us twain. Thy radiant brother, thou, Diana, lovest before all else on earth and in the heavens, and turnest thy virgin face with longing calm to his eternal light. Oh, let my only brother, found so late, not rave and wander in the gloom of madness. And if thy purpose now is done, for which thou hast concealed me here, if thou through him will grant me saving help, and him through me, then free him from the chains of that old curse, that precious time for freedom be not lost.
Dost thou know us, and this most sacred grove, and this same light, which shines not for the dead? Feel'st thou the arm of friend and of the sister who still do hold thee fast, still hold the living? Take hold of us. We are not empty shadows. Hear thou my voice. Attend and nerve thyself. Each moment now is dear, and our return depends on slender threads which now it seems some favouring Parse spends.
Orestes to Iphigenia.
Now let me first, with spirit disenthralled, in thy embrace unsullied joy obtain. Ye gods, who move with flaming might to cleave thick clouds, and earnest to bestow your gifts, with voice of thunder and with roar of winds, pour o'er the parched earth in raging streams the long-awaited rain, yet soon dissolve the expectant fears of men in happiness, and turn their terror-stricken gaze to joy and loudest praise, when, in the pendant drops from freshened leaves, the reappearing sun reflects his image in 1,000 forms, and Iris, banded bright with airy hand, rifts the grey gauze of the departing cloud. Oh, let me then in my dear sister's arms, on my companion's breast, enjoy and keep with thankfulness what ye have granted me. The curse is loosed, I feel it in my heart. I hear them going, the Eumenides, to Tartarus. They slam the brazen gates behind them with a thundering noise from far. The earth exhales revivifying odours, and calls me back again on her wide plains, to range for life's delights and deeds of might.
Then squander not the time allotted us. The wind which swells our sails, let it first bear our perfect joy to high Olympus. Come, our counsel and decision must be swift.
End of Act 3. Act 4 of Iphigenia in Tauris by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Frederick Butler. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Act 4, Scene 1, Iphigenia.
When the heavenly powers perplexities destine for a son born of earth, and prepare they for him soul-quaking transition from life's pleasures to pains, and from pains unto pleasures. Then they train him up so in the city's gay throngs or on far distant shores, that in hour of trial needful help he may find in a true tranquil friend. O bless, ye gods, our faithful Pylades, and whatsoe'er he undertakes to do. He is the arm of youth in battle strife, the kindling eye of age in council halls, for his great soul is calm. It well preserves the holy, inexhausted boon of peace, and from its depths draws for the fugitive advice and aid. Me from my brother he hath torn away, on whom I gazed again and yet again, amazed, and could not make the joy my own, and would not let him go, unmindful of the danger threatening near. They go now, their design to execute, down to the sea, where in the bay concealed the ship with their companions waits the sign. With words sagacious they have filled my mouth, and taught me what to say unto the king, if he should send and urgently demand of me the sacrifice. Ah, well I see that like a child I must be led perforce. I have not learned deception's artifice, nor ever played a trick on anyone. Oh, woe to falsehood! It frees not the breast like every other word pronounced in truth, begets in us distrust, and bringeth anguish on him who secretly contriveth it, and it returns, a liberated dart, turned in its flight by some divinity, and strikes the archer. Care on care distracts my breast. Perhaps upon the unhallowed shore again the Furies' rage will seize the brother and bind him to the earth in agony. Perhaps they will be seen. Methinks I hear armed men approaching. Here! The messenger himself with rapid strides comes from the king. My heart beats fast. My soul grows dark and sad as I behold the visage of the man whom I must now oppose with falsehood's wiles.
Scene 2. Iphigenia, Arkas.
Haste, priestess, now prepare the sacrifice. The king attends, the people stand and wait.
I would fulfill my office and thy will, had not an unexpected hindrance come twixt me and the performance of my duty.
What is it that impedes the king's command?
A circumstance which we cannot control.
Declare it, that I may apprise him soon, for he determined on the death of both.
The gods have not yet so determined it. The elder of these men bears guilty stain of his near kindred's blood, which he hath shed. The Furies follow him upon his tracks. Yea, in the inner Tempeline he fell a prey to madness, and his presence here profaned the holy place. Now with my maidens I hasten to the water's marge to bathe the sacred image in the cleansing waves, so to perform a consecrating act in rites mysterious. Let none disturb our peaceful progress to the sea.
I will with speed announce this hindrance strange unto the king. Before thou hast consent from him, begin not thou this holy work.
This is the priestess's right, and trust alone.
A case so strange the king should surely know.
His counsel or command can alter naught.
The ruler oft is asked for appearance' sake.
Urge not upon me what I should refuse.
Refuse not that which good and needful is.
I will comply, if thou wilt not delay.
Soon with the tidings will I be in camp, and soon be here again with his command. Oh, could I bear to him one message more, to clear up all that now perplexes us, for thou hast not esteemed thy friend's advice.
What I had power to do, I've gladly done.
E'en yet there's time for thee to change thy mind.
No longer now is that within our power.
Thou hold'st impossible, but costs thee pain.
To thee 'tis easy, for the wish deludes thee.
Wilt thou then hazard all so passively?
Into the hands of gods I've placed my trust.
They use mankind to save by human means.
Upon their lightest beck it all depends.
I tell thee it doth lie in thine own hand. The king's exasperated mind alone prescribes for these two strangers bitter death. Long since the people's thought hath weaned itself from cruel sacrifice and bloody service. Yea, many a one whom adverse fate hath borne to foreign strands hath for himself perceived how like a god the friendly face of man, hath met the hapless wanderer, whose bark, storm-driven, drifted on the stranger shores. Oh, turn not from us what thou canst avail. Thou endest lightly what thou hast begun. For nowhere mildness, which descends from heaven in human form, more quickly for itself uprears a kingdom, than where dark and wild a new-born folk, replete with courage, life, and might, left to itself and fear's forebodings, the heavy burden bears of human life.
Shake not my soul with pleadings vain, for thou canst never make me yield to thy demands.
As long as there is time, nor pains we spare, nor repetition of a kindly word.
Thyself thou troublest, and excitest pains in me. In vain are both, therefore now leave me.
The pains it is which I now call to aid, for they are friends and monitors of good.
They seize and hold my soul in piercing throes, yet will they never conquer my dislike.
Can then a soul so beautiful thus feel dislike for kindness proffered by a king?
Yes, when the king, ignoring what is fit, would sue for me instead of gratitude.
Who feels no inclination never fails to find an argument to excuse himself. I will inform the prince what's happened here. Oh, would thou couldst to thy remembrance call how nobly he hath borne himself to thee, from thy first coming to this present day.
Scene 3. Iphigenia alone.
Now, all at once and most unseasonably, I feel my heart within my bosom turned. I tremble, as with current swift the flood in swelling billows overflows the rocks which lie upon the sands down by the sea. So flowed a stream of joy o'er all my sense. I held within my arms ecstatic bliss unspeakable. Again a cloud appeared to softly steal round me, raise me up above the earth, and lull me in such slumber as erst the goddess laid around my temples when she stretched forth her saving arm. My heart, with impulse strange and strong, yearned for my brother. I listened only to his friend's advice, only to save them, pressed my spirit on, and as the sailor gladly turns his back upon the cliffs of some deserted isle, so Tauris lay behind me. Now the voice of this trustworthy man has called me back, reminded me that here, too, I forsake mankind. Twice hateful now is this deceit. Be still, my soul, be still. Beginnest thou now to waver and to doubt? Must thou forsake the firm abode of thy dear solitude? Thee, once again embarked, the rocking waves will seize and hold. Dejected and alarmed, thou understandest not the world and thee.
Scene 4. Iphigenia Pylades.
Where is she, that I quickly may to her the joyful news of our deliverance bear?
Thou seest me anxious and awaiting here the sure relief which thou hast promised me.
Thy brother is restored. In glad discourse we trod the rocky bottom and the sand of the unhallowed shore. Behind us lay the grove, we marked it not, and gloriously and with an ever-growing glory blazed the beauteous flame of youth around his head all curled. The glow of courage and of hope filled his clear eye. His liberated heart quite yielded to the joy, quite to the wish, thee his deliverer and me to save.
May you be blessed, and never from the lips which have so kindly spoken may the sound of sorrow or complaint assail our ears.
I bring still more than this, for well attended, e'en like a prince doth fortune seem to approach. For our companions, too, have all been found. Within a bay among the rocks they hid the ship, and waiting sat disconsolate. They saw thy brother, and at once arose with shouts of joy, and pressing round prayed him to hasten on the hour of the departure. Each hand was eager then to grasp the oar. E'en then a wind in whispers raised on shore a favouring breeze, by all alike remarked. Then let us hasten, to the temple lead me, and let me tread the inmost sanctuary, the goal of our desires in reverence seize. I can alone suffice to bear away the sacred image on my shoulders strong. Oh, how I long to reach the wished-for burden.
With these words, Pylades goes towards the temple without observing that Iphigenia does not follow. At last he turns about.
You stand and loiter? Speak to me. Thou art silent. You seem confused. Doth some new ill arise to check our fortune? Speak. Hast thou informed the king as we in concert wisely planned?
I have, dear man. Yet thou wilt chide, I know. Thine aspect was to me a mute reproof. The royal messenger approached, and I each word repeated as thou gavest me. He seemed astonished, urgently desired to first announce the festival so strange unto the king, that he might learn his pleasure. And now I wait for his return.
Woe and alas! Now danger hangs in you above our heads. Why didst thou not conceal thyself with cunning neath thy priesthood's right?
I ne'er have used it for concealment's veil.
So thou, pure soul, will bring thyself and us to grief. Why did I not anticipate this same contingency, and teach thee how to parry such demands?
Chide me alone, the fault is mine. I feel that it is so, yet otherwise I could not meet the man who sought from me with reason and with zeal what in my heart I knew was just and right.
The cloud of danger grows more dense. Yet so let us not tremble, or with heedless haste betray ourselves. Await thou quietly the messenger's return, and then stand fast, let come what may. For such a festival of consecration to direct pertains unto the priestess, not unto the king. And should he ask to see the foreigner, he who the heavy load of madness bears, decline it so, as though thou hadst us both within the temple guarded well. So thou wilt give us time in greatest haste to flee, while we purloin the sacred treasure hence, unworthily held by this rude barbarous folk. Apollo sends us most propitious signs. Before we piously fulfill the terms, divinely he his promises fulfills. Orestes now is free, is whole. With him thus freed, Oberas favouring wends across to rocky isle, the god's own dwelling place. Then to Mycene to renew its life, that from the ashes of its smouldered hearth the household gods may joyously arise, and cheerful fire light their dwellings round. Thy hand shall first for them sweet incense strew from golden censers. Over that threshold thou wilt again bring health and life, appease the curse, and gloriously adorn thine own with life's fresh blooms anew.
If I, dear friend, perceive thy meaning right, then, as the flower turns to greet the sun, so turns the soul, pierced by thy radiant words, to the sweet comfort which thou dost assure. How precious is the confident discourse of present friends! To him who dwells alone, its power divine is lost and silent falls. For, locked within the breast, in him doth thought and resolution ripen slow. The presence of loving friend unfolds them readily.
Farewell. I now will hasten to console our friends who eagerly in waiting stay. Then quickly I'll return and lie in wait, concealed among the rocks and thicket here, upon a sign from you. What thinkest thou? For all at once a cloud of sadness spreads in silence o'er thy fair and open brow.
Forgive me. Like thin clouds before the sun, so trifling cares and fears sweep o'er my soul.
Fear not. Delusively hath fear with danger joined a compact close. Companions are they both.
It is a noble care and charge which warn me not to deceive in malice or to rob the king who has become my second father.
Thou fleest from him who would thy brother slay.
Yet he it is who hath befriended me.
What needful is not ingratitude.
It still remains ingratitude, but need excuseth it.
For gods and men 'twill free thee from all blame.
But my own heart within is not at peace.
'Tis hidden pride to be too nice and right.
I question not the right. I only feel.
Feel'st thou aright? Then thou must honoured be.
The heart is only happy when 'tis pure.
So hast thou kept thyself within the temple. Our life doth teach us to be less severe with others and ourselves. Thou too wilt learn it. So wondrously is formed the race of man, so variously entangled and involved, that no one in himself, nor with his kind, can keep himself unsullied, unperplexed. Nor are we called upon to judge ourselves. To walk and to take heed unto his way is each man's duty and his first concern. For seldom he esteems aright what's done, and what he does he knows not how to esteem.
Almost thou dost persuade me to thy way.
Needs there persuasion where the choice is denied? There is one only way to save thy brother, thyself, and friend. Can we decline to go?
Oh, grant me some delay, for thou thyself wouldst not permit such wrong to fall on one to whom for favours thou wert held in bond.
If we should fall, there would remain for thee reproach more bitter, gendering despair. 'Tis clear that thou art not inured to loss, since thou, in order to escape great ill, art not e'en willing to offer one false word.
Oh, would I bore a manlike heart in me, which, when it entertains a purpose bold, doth close itself to every other voice.
In vain thou dost refuse. The iron hand of hard necessity commands. Her nod severe is law supreme. To it the gods themselves must yield obedience. Silent reigns the uncounselled sister of eternal fate. What she imposes, bear. Do what she bids. The rest thou knowest. Soon will I return, then to receive from out thy hallowed hand the beauteous seal of our deliverance.
Scene 5. Iphigenia alone.
I must obey him, for I see mine own in urgent danger. Yet, ah me, my fate oppresses me with e'er-increasing fears. Oh, shall I not preserve the peaceful hope which in my solitude I nourished fair? Shall then this curse forever hover o'er us? Shall the Tantalian race with blessings new ne'er rise again? All else doth fade and wane. The highest bliss, the fairest strength of life grows faint at last. Wherefore then not the curse? So then I hoped in vain. Safeguarded here, secluded from my people's destiny, some day with a clean hand and a clean heart to purify the much polluted dwelling. Scarce is my brother in my arms restored in manner strange and quick from grievous ill. Scarce comes the long-entreated ship near shore to bear me to my native haven hence, that deaf necessity with heavy hand doth burden me with twofold vice, to take by force the sacred image, honored much, to me entrusted, and to circumvent the man to whom I owe my life and fate. Oh, that aversion may not sprout at last within my breast, that not titanic hate of ancient gods, deep set and strong 'gainst you, Olympians, may seize my tender breast with vulture's claws. Save me, thine image save within my soul. Again, within my ears the old song sounds. I had forgotten it, forgot it gladly. The Parcae's song, which they in horror sang when Tantalus from golden seat fell down. They suffered with their aged friend. Their breasts were torn with rage, and frightful was their song. In childhood days the nurse sang it to me and to the rest. I marked it well. Let the fear of the gods be on children of men. They hold in their hands eternal dominion, and can use it to smite whenever they please. Let him fear them doubly whom once they have honored. On cliffs and on cloud banks the seats are prepared round tables of gold. When discord arises, the guests are hurled headlong, disgraced and defamed, to the depths of night's realm, and wait in despair there, in darkness confined, for justice and right. But the gods remain feasting in festivals ever at tables of gold. They stride across mountains to mountains again. From abysses beneath them, the breath of the Titans, all strangling and struggling, ascendeth in fumes, like scent of burnt-off rings, a light, airy cloud. The rulers turn from them their favoring eyes, from the whole hated race, and shun in the children, once loved and once honored, the features betraying their ancestors' line. Thus sang they, the Parcae. The banished one hearkens in the caverns of night to their song. As he hears, he thinks of the fathers, then thinks of the children, and shaketh his head.
End of Act 4. Act 5 of Iphigenia in Tauris by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Frederick Butler. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Act 5. Scene 1. WilsonArkas.
Perplexed, I must admit that I know not to what point to direct suspicion's aim. Is it the captives, who now meditate clandestine flight? Is it the priestess self, who aids them? For the rumor spreads and grows, that still somewhere within the bay the ship which these two hither brought lies well concealed. The man's insanity, this consecration, the sacred pretext for delay, arouse suspicion only, and demand precaution.
First let the priestess hither quickly come, then search the shore with quick and eager haste, e'en from the headland to the sanctuary. Avoid its sacred depths, in ambush lie, all watchful, and upon them fall with might. Where'er you find them, seize them as you may.
Scene 2. Thoas alone.
Now rage within my breast alternate sways, against her first, whom I so wholly thought, then 'gainst myself, who formed and fashioned her through fond indulgence for this treachery. Man soon becomes inured to slavery, and lightly learns to obey, when fully robbed of freedom. Yes, had she in the rude hands of my forefathers fallen and been spared their holy rage, glad would she then have been to have escaped alive. and to have learned to know her state with thankfulness, and shed the stranger's blood before the sacred altar, to make a duty of necessity. Now in her breast my kindness doth inflame desire audacious. I in vain have hoped to bind her to myself. She seeketh now her fortune for herself alone. My heart she won through flattery, now I oppose. Thus seeks she for herself a way through cunning and through deceit, and all my kindness seems to her an old, worn-out estate.
Scene 3. Iphigenia, Thoas.
Dost summon me? What brings you here to us?
Thou dost delay the sacrifice? Why so?
I have explained it all to Arkas clearly.
I wish to learn it further from yourself.
The goddess gives you respite for reflection.
To thee this respite seems quite opportune.
If now thy heart is hardened to resolve on cruelty, thou shouldst not here appear. A king who's bent on inhumanity can servants find in plenty, who for grace and hire will eagerly partake the half of the accursed deed. Yet royalty remains unstained. In secrecy profound he meditates on death. His messengers bring down upon the wretched victim's head a flaming ruin, yet he soars in calm, in his serenest height above the storm, an unapproached god.
The holy lips sound forth a frantic song.
Not priestess now, but Agamemnon's daughter. Reverest thou the word of one unknown, and wilt thou rashly bid the princess? No. From youth till now have I learned to obey my parents first, and then my deity, and ever have I felt my soul most free in sweet obedience. But to yield myself to the despotic will and harsh command of any man, I learned not there nor here.
An ancient law, not I, commandeth thee.
With eagerness we seize upon a law that to our passions gives encouragement. Another speaks to me, an older law, which I oppose to thee, the great command which holds each stranger sacred.
The captives seem quite near and dear to thee. Through sympathetic feeling and emotion, thou hast forgotten wisdom's first command, that we should not provoke the ruling powers.
Speak I, or am I silent? Thou canst know what is and ever dwells within my heart. Doth not the memory of a similar fate unlock the fastenings of the heart to pity's cry? How much more mine? In them I see myself. Before the altar I myself have trembled, and early death in solemn state stood o'er me kneeling. Then the knife was raised aloft to pierce the bosom throbbing with young blood. A whirl of horror terrified my soul. My sight grew dim, and I was saved at last. Are we not bound to render to the unhappy what God so graciously have granted us? Thou knowest it is so. Thou knowest me, and yet thou wouldst constrain me?
Submit unto thine office, not thy king.
Forbear. Gloss not with words that violence which o'er a woman's weakness doth exult. I am free-born, as free as any man. If Agamemnon's son now stood before thee, and thou shouldst then demand what was not fit, he too would have a sword and have an arm to vindicate his nearest, dearest right. Nothing but words have I, and it befits a noble man to honor woman's word.
I honor it more than a brother's sword.
The chance of arms doth ever change about. No prudent fighter doth his foe belittle, and nature hath not left the weak defenseless against the pride and hauteur of the strong. She grants him joy in cunning and deceit. Soon he escapes, delays, and circumvents. The mighty ones of earth deserve no less.
But wise precaution doth forestall deceit.
And an unblemished soul doth want it not.
Take care that thou dost not condemn thyself.
Oh, couldst thou see my spirit, how it strives with might to turn aside in its first assault malignant fate which bears upon it hard. Stand I then here all weaponless against thee, the fascinating plea, the charming branch which in a woman's hand more potent is than sword and shield, thou dost reject. What now remains to me as my soul's last defense? Can I call the goddess to perform a wonder? Is there no strength within my soul's depths more?
It seems the fate of these two strangers gives thee measureless concern. Who are they, pray, for whom thy soul so mightily is moved?
They seem, I take it, they are Greeks.
Thy countrymen, are they? And they, no doubt, revive within thy breast the cherished image of thy return?
Iphigenia, after a pause.
Is then the right to wondrous deeds bestowed on man alone? Hath he alone the power to attain and clasp to his heroic breast the impossible? What then do we call great? What is it that strikes terror in the soul when we absorb the oft-repeated tale, but the improbable result of what the most courageous man began? He who in darkest night, alone, glides like a snake up to the enemy encamped asleep. How unawares a flame devouring wraps the sleepers and the waking, and at last, on all sides pressed by the awakened ones, he turns to flee on foeman's steed, yet still with booty laden. Is then such an one alone to have all praise? And he alone, who, safety's way despising, boldly goes to rove o'er mountains and through forests dense, that he may rid the region round of robbers? Is nothing left for us? Must tender woman forego her inborn right, a savage be against a savage turned, like Amazons to rob you of the sword and to avenge oppression with your blood? Within my breast a bold adventure heaves and falls in waves. If it miscarries, I shall not escape severe reproach and most disastrous ill. Here at your feet, ye gods, I lay it down. If ye are true as ye are held to be, then show it by your aid and glorify the truth through me. Yea, understand, O king, a secret fraud is being now devised. In vain thou wilt inquire for the captives. They are departed hence, and seek their friends who at the ship are waiting on the shore. The elder, he who struggled here in throes of madness, now set free. Orestes is my brother, and his confidant the other, friend of his youth, and Pylades by name. Apollo sent them forth from Delphi's shrine unto this shore with the divine command to plunder hence the image of Diana, and hence to him the sister to convey. This task performed, he promises to him whom furies follow and maternal blood pollutes, deliverance. Now both of us, the last of Tantal's house, I have delivered into thine hand. Destroy us, if you dare.
And thinkest thou the savage Scythian, the rude barbarian, will lend an ear to truth and to humanity, whose voice the Grecian Atreus did never heed?
'Tis heard by everyone beneath the sky wherever born, in whom the springs of life flow pure and unobstructed through the breast. What purpose touching me dost thou, O king, resolve in silence in thine inmost soul? Is it destruction? So then slay me first. For now I do perceive, since there remains for us no rescue more, the jeopardy most horrible, whereunto I, or rash, designedly have hurried my beloved. Woe! I shall see them bound before my eyes. With what a glance can I take leave of him, my brother, whom I send to death? Ne'er more can I look into his beloved eyes.
Thus have the clever and designing twain thrown such a web around the head of her, the long secluded one, who lately gave a willing ear to all their hopes and wishes.
No, no, O king, I might have been deceived, but these are faithful, these are true. If thou shalt find them otherwise, then let them fall and cast me out and banish me disgraced to gloomy shore of some deserted isle, there to endure my folly's punishment. But if this man should prove to be my brother for whom I've prayed so long and whom I love, then let us go in peace. Be friendly then to him, my brother, as thou art to me. My father fell through Clytemnestra's guilt, and she through her own son. The final hope of Atreus' line doth rest on him alone. Let me, with a clean heart and a clean hand, pass over hence and purify our house. Thou gavest me thy word. If e'er for me should be prepared a way unto mine own, thou swearedst me to let me go, and now it is. A king speaks not like vulgar men confusedly, the suppliant for the nonce to send away. But if by any chance he promises what he does not expect, then feels he first the power of his worth, when he can fill the expectant one with joy.
As fire with water strives in combat fierce, and seething seeks to annihilate his foe, so furiously doth anger in my breast resist thy words.
Oh, let the flame of grace, e'en like the holy light which mildly burns in sacrificial fire, encircled round with songs of praise and thanks and joy, ascend to me.
How oft this voice hath soothed my soul!
Oh, offer me thy hand in pledge of peace.
Thou askest much in a short space of time.
We need no time to halt to do what's good.
Great deal, for e'en from good doth evil spring.
'Tis doubt alone that turneth good to ill. Pause not to think, but act as thou dost feel.
Scene 4. The former Orestes armed. Orestes behind the scenes.
Increase your forces. Hold them back. A few more moments. Yield not to their numbers, and cover well the way unto the ship for me and sister.
Orestes to Iphigenia without observing the king.
Come, we are betrayed. But little space remains to us for flight. Quick!
Orestes sees the king. Thoas reaching for his sword.
Here in my presence none doth wield his naked sword unpunished.
Do not profane the goddess's dwelling place through rage and blood. Command your people to stand still, and hear the priestess, hear the sister.
Tell me then, who is't that threatens us?
Revere in him the king, a second father he to me. Forgive me, brother, yet my simple heart hath placed our fate entirely in his hands. I have confessed to him your plot, and saved my soul from treachery.
Doth he intend to grant us safe return thus peaceably?
Your glittering sword forbids me to respond.
Orestes sheathing his sword.
So speak. Thou seest, I have obeyed thy words.
Scene 5. The former, Pylades followed by Arkas, both with drawn swords.
Delay not. Our forces have combined for the last stand, and yielding step by step are being slowly forced unto the sea. What parley of the princess find I here? This is their king's most honored head.
With calmness, as beseemeth thee, O king, thou standest 'gainst thine enemies. Now soon their rashness will receive chastisement due. Their party yields and falls, their ship is ours. One word from thee, and it will be in flames.
Away! Command our people to stand still. Let none molest thee, foe, whilst we are speaking.
The like will I. Go, trusty friend, and gather the rest of all our band. Bid them be still, whilst here we learn what end the gods appoint to our endeavours.
Scene 6. Iphigenia, Thoas, Orestes.
Now, first, before you speak, relieve my mind of all anxiety. I fear sore strife if thou, O king, will not the gentle voice of equity regard, and thou, my brother, will not restrain the impetuous fire of youth.
I will restrain my anger, as befits the elder. Answer me, what proof hast thou to show that thou art Agamemnon's son, and this one's brother true?
Here is the sword with which he slew the bravest men of Troy. This took I from his murderer, and prayed the gods to lend to me the valour, strength, and fortune of the great and mighty king, and grant to me a death more honourable. Choose now a noble from thy mighty host, and let me stand in combat against the best. As far as earth heroic sons doth bear, no stranger is denied this proof of strength.
This privilege hath ne'er been granted here to any stranger.
Then from thee and me henceforth let custom be begun anew. By all men everywhere, the noble act of rulers is revered and held as law. And let me not contend for freedom only. Let me a stranger for the strangers fight. Fall I, then is their sentence with mine own pronounced. But if my fortune is to win, then may no man upon this shore e'er tread, to whom shall be denied the rapid glance of sympathetic love. And comforted, let each one hence depart.
Thou seemest not, O youth, unworthy of the ancestors of whom thou makest thy boast. Great is the count of noble, valiant men who follow me. Yet I myself, with all my years, can still maintain mine own against thee, foe, and I am ready now to hazard all with thee in chance of arms.
No, no, there is no need, O king, of bloody argument like this. Draw not thy sword, but think of me and mine. The rash encounter doth immortalize a man. When he doth fall, he's praised in song. But no posterity doth count the tears unending of the widow left forsaken. The bard is silent of the 1,000 days and nights in weeping past, where some calm soul consumes itself with care, in the vain help of calling back again the long-lost friend so rashly torn away. Myself hath care forewarned not to be drawn from safe retreat by any fraud of robber and betrayed to servitude. With diligence have I examined them, each circumstance explored, demanded proofs, and now my heart is sure. See here on his right hand the mark resembling 3 stars, which on the very day appeared when he was born, and which the priests declared betokened heavy deeds to be performed by this same hand. Then doubly doth convince me this scar, which cleaves his eyebrow here. When he was yet a child, Electra, rash and heedless, as was her wont, dropped him from out her arms. He struck a tripod as he fell. 'Tis he. Shall I yet name his likeness to his father? Shall I the inward leaping of my heart adduce to thee as proof of my assurance?
And if thy speech removed each lingering doubt, and if I tamed the anger in my breast, yet were it needful that the sword decide between us. Peace I see not. They are come, thou hast thyself acknowledged it to me, to rob me of the goddess's sacred image. Thinkest thou that I with apathy can see this? The Greek doth often turn his eager eyes to treasures of barbarians far remote. The golden fleece, their steeds and fairest daughters, yet force and cunning have not always led them safely back with goods thus coveted.
The image shall not sunder us, O king, for now we do perceive the veil of error which a divinity spread o'er our heads when he commanded us to wander hither. Him I besought for counsel and release from the fell Furies' company. He spoke, "Bring'st thou the sister who on Tauris shore within the sanctuary stays perforce to Grecian land, the curse will be removed." We construed it to mean Apollo's sister, and he intended thee. The cruel bands are now dissolved. Thou art, thou Holy One, again restored to thine. Touched by thy hand, I was made whole, was healed. In thy embrace, the frenzy seized me in his every claw for the last time, and all my marrow shook most terribly. Then, like a snake, it fled into its cave. Through thee, I now enjoy anew the universal light of day. Most fair and glorious now to me appear the purposes divine. The goddess took thee, protectress of our house, and hid thee safe, e'en like a sacred image, whereunto the city's fate immutably is bound, in mystery of oracle divine. Sequestered thee in holy quietude, to bless thy brother and thine own to bless. When all salvation seemed forever lost on the wide earth, thou giv'st us all again. Now let thy thoughts return to peace, O king. Oppose her not, now that she doth intend to consecrate the paternal home anew. Restore me to the halls now freed from curse, and press upon my brow the ancient crown. Requite the blessing which she brought to thee, and let a nearer privilege be mine. Both force and craft, the highest boast of men, are, through the truth of this exalted soul, brought down to shame, and pure and childlike trust in an illustrious man will be rewarded.
Bethink thee of thy promise, and be moved by this same speech so justly, truly spoken. Behold us here. Not often art thou given occasion for a noble deed like this. Thou canst refuse it not. Then grant it soon.
So go.
Not so, my king. Without a blessing, in anger, I can never part from thee. Proscribe us not. Let there proceed from thee to us a friendly hospitality, so we will not forever be estranged and separated. Worthy and most dear, as was my father, so art thou to me, and this impression will remain with me. If e'er the lowliest of thy people bring unto mine ear the sound of that same voice which I was ever wont to hear in thee, and in the poorest I behold thy kin, I will receive him like a god. I will myself prepare a couch for him, invite him to a seat beside the cheerful hearth, inquire but of thee and thy estate. Oh, may the gods grant thee well-earned reward for all thy noble deeds and tenderness. Farewell. Oh, turn to us and give me back but one kind word ere we forever part. More gently then the wind will swell our sails, more softly flow the tears from straining eyes as we depart. Farewell! Extend to me in pledge of old acquaintance thy right hand.
Farewell.
End of Act 5. End of Iphigenia in Tauris by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Frederick Butler.